Hello! Welcome to Niver Niverland. This is Tim Niver. I am the creator of Niver Niverland. Niver Niverland is produced by Gleam Tower Media. Matthew Gundrum, if you need to know his name. Also brought to you by Moochie's and Saint Inette. This is the first time I told you who's paying me to do the show. Nobody's paying me, I'm paying to do the show, but I am sponsored by my restaurants. That's how Niver Niverland exists. So, Niver Niverland today, interesting character with us. Says he feels somewhat socially awkward, but I think you'll find him to be very, very charming. It's kind of cold and gray outside, and this person brought a little sunshine inside today. That was nice. It was good to talk to this person, Danny Del Prado, of so many restaurants. It's interesting to talk to a chef, super on the rise, pushing boundaries and making things happen. Also, I want to let you know we're going to do a live show. We're going to do one here soon, probably February. And it's going to be live. It's going to be Niver Niverland live, and there will be cocktails. We'll have a little party, and then we'll sit down and we'll talk about cocktails and having a little party. Also, we've invited ourselves to a city, and we're taking Niver Niverland on the road. We want you to come with us. We want to show you what we see somewhere else, not only in our own town. Thanks so much for the support. Thanks for listening. Most importantly, Danny Del Prado. Everybody, have a listen. I feel like, Minneapolis and St. Paul are having a hard time kind of finding our identity again.
Yeah.
Vibrant downtowns versus vibrant suburbs. The two cities, potentially Minneapolis and St. Paul, actually acting as one. It feels like we try to keep things a little separate here, like a little guarded.
Yeah, I don't understand that part. It's just for me.
But do you feel that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I actually, there are two different communities. You know what I mean? It's like you and JD, and Justin, and in this side, and then I think then there are two different communities. Yeah. Being so close is kind of weird. Yeah. But I agree. Like getting back to Minneapolis, getting back to normal is taking longer than every other city.
Somebody called it the epicenter of the,
yeah,
kind of the cultural process here, the change that everybody has to, consider right now more than ever. But also too, the life is different. You want a city to be vibrant. You want a city to have people walking around in it, and that's tougher.
I'm downtown in the hotel, the Rand Tower. When we start like 6 months ago. The whole project we didn't open until a month and a half ago, 2 months. And when I leave at night, it used to be like empty. There was no people walking around. Now it's changing. You see more life. So I think next summer is gonna get there. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we did see it, excuse me, here in St. Paul.
Yeah.
We did see it here, that vibrancy when say that had this light show glow over here, and it really brought people down here, families and everybody. And you just see what happens when you add, activities and different things and kind of press on that idea that it's busy. Keep going with it. And eventually I think we'll arrive back. But it was nice to see December happen, and January didn't fall off quite as far as I thought. I don't know.
You mean compared to past years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in general, like while we have some slow nights, our weekends are pretty strong, and I'm feeling good about 2023. I really am.
Yeah. I always get scared in the winter. Like all my people working with me, they know I get scared because the sales go down by 50%, especially no patios and everything. So I always think like, oh, maybe this is the year. Then you have
to carry it in the winter, right?
Yeah.
Then you're saying, okay, how do we How do we get skinny quick so we're not like rolling into these winter months with excess folks? And you want to treat everybody fairly too, in the best way possible. But you have to know that your business is seasonal.
Yeah, the goat storage it's like a ski resort. You know what I mean? Like you have all these people, in the summer, and then winter people just leave. The snowbirds. Which is like a high percentage of my clientele are those snowbirds. So it affects me a lot.
No doubt. They got more than one home. They're going places.
Yeah, if I'm breaking even in the winter, I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
But usually it's not the case. So, yeah.
Yeah, so, all right, this is Niverland.
Yeah.
Hey, Chef, Danny Del Prado.
How are you?
I'm so good, man. Like, we don't know each other very well, but every time I see you and I see your face and I see you smile, you have a very welcoming aura to you.
Thanks.
And you were saying that, you're kind of socially awkward or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
I'm totally awkward. Yeah,
but that's charming. Don't you think that comes off as charming?
No.
Is it do you use it? Do you use that power?
No, not anymore. Maybe when I was younger. No. But
how can you turn it off? Dude? I'm not sure I can turn it off. How do you turn it off? Just
no, but I feel awkward. Yeah, for sure. But it's who I am. So
That's good, man. So your story is really, your life story is really kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's good.
And it's good. Was it good when you were going through all of it?
No, I was miserable most of my life. Yeah.
But look at you now, right? In a way, right? Look now, how far.
Yeah.
Look how far.
Lately, I've been thinking like, I like my job, actually. I like what I'm doing now.
Cool.
So
that helps.
Yeah, I have a great partner at home. I have 2 dogs and I adore. So it's not that bad. But for a long time, I was like, there are chapters in my life that I was completely miserable. So,
Well, you made it through, and I think that's kind of maybe where your flavor comes from. Those experiences, everything that you go through in your life, just kind of comes out through your hands and your expressions in your restaurants and your ability to apparently handle a lot.
Yeah.
That capacity alone is something worth talking about,
Yeah.
And I think there's people that, the way I read things, there's people that think, it's too fast. You hear that all the time? Is it too fast?
All the time.
And it's like, kind of like, fuck you. Because I can do it.
You know what fuck you is just right? It's like chefs usually... We open a restaurant. The first 3 years you're trying to make you trying to, you paying back to investors or whoever or whatever you got the money back. If you're lucky, your restaurant is still open. Then you cost for 5 years, and then most chefs open the second restaurant there, right? I start opening my restaurant. I opened when I was 39 years old, my first one. And I know that I had 5 to 7 years to be at this intensity. And I was like, most people want to succeed with one restaurant, this cute little chef, like with one restaurant. And then, you pay yourself a salary. And then what? You know what I mean?
Hey,
you close, you have debt. It's not that when you close a restaurant, you're like, okay, there's a lot of liability, a lot of bills for a whole month more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not gonna, and I saw that so many times. So I was like, I'm not gonna be that person. So we have these plans since I opened the first one. You know what I mean? Maybe not so fast, but like, we have a plan to not be that person. You know what I mean? Like, so fuck you is to the people. Then it's like, oh, he's opening too fast. He's gonna, not do good.
This is like, hard anyway, right? Yeah. And it takes a lot of balls. Takes a lot of energy. Honestly, Daniel, you described my situation, and I am not at all. I understand how I got here, right? I wanted multiple restaurants, and I had 2 and 3 going. I still have 2 going, okay?
Yeah.
But, ultimately, one of my mentors, Håkan Swan, who owns Aquavit still in New York and owned it with Marcus Samuelson while we were here working together. And he said, Tim, if you open a small restaurant, you're going to work in it your whole life. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, isn't that kind of the point or whatever? And it is kind of to have a little dream and a little, whatever. But the idea that would be it forever is hard. And that you could actually maintain some sort of wealth because of one little spot that you're working in all the time is not necessarily what's going to happen. And that's what he warned me. He told me. But for volume's sake, that's a special talent you have, right? Mm-hmm. So what's your angle then? So the idea was not to build a small place that you have to kind of like bury yourself in necessarily, but that you could continue to kind of grow a family of places built on a successful financial plan and a creative, executable, high-end scenario, really?
Yeah. So my goal and my plan was to kind of mentor people into a role of, owner absentee is like main reason why a restaurant cannot succeed. So how can I open 2 or 3 restaurants and be there at all? We can. So I created this group of people, and right now there are 12 people. There are like 4 chefs, 3 from the house, 2 bar, and then the administrative people. Then they are at the restaurants, and we rotate between all the restaurants. I do usually growth. So when I open a restaurant, I'm in there in the beginning, and then I move on to the next thing. So
how long do you tend to stay at the restaurant?
So
it's varied, right?
3 months, like
that's the plan.
But the first month is like 7 days a week from not open, from like morning to late night. So I always gain like 15 pounds when I open a restaurant.
You do?
Yes.
I always lose 15 pounds.
No, I just eat all the time. I stress eat a lot. So now I'm in the...
yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, I get it. That's hard, man. I stress don't eat.
Oh, I stress eat. That's why you can see it.
There's days I'm like, it's 4:00. I might as well put something in my face now. Anyways, so you would do 3 months is
like
the
3
plan.
months, and then I stop by, once in a while. I start, leaving slowly, but I have part of the team there. Yeah. At the hotel right now, I have like 6 people from this team right now because it's a challenging project. It's 3 floors, 3 concepts. It's downtown Minneapolis. I'm surprised with the reception we had so far.
Congratulations.
It's good. I'm happy with what I did. Now I'm working. The next step is for me to work the financials. I mean, are we making money? Are we losing money? How can I fix this? So that's the process that I'm working on now. And just cleaning systems and things like that. Yeah. That's what I'm in the project now. And then I go back to the other ones, see how everything is doing. We have a weekly meeting where everybody's there, and we take decisions. I'm driving all day from one position to the other, so that's what I do. But the next step, I mean, after the steakhouse, I'm not doing anything for a while. But I'm gonna help my main chef. He's opening a restaurant next year, and I'm gonna help him with that.
Oh, wonderful!
And then there are 2 other people that I wanna help in the next 2 years opening their own place. Then they are in that group. So that's the goal.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that you proliferate, like new folks, and you give them a chance, you show them an angle, and you give them a platform to practice on and an idea. And that's the way it is. Yeah. That's the way it is. And it's nice that you have, I mean, if you can produce that, that's the way it is. So it's an excellent quality. Yeah. A lot of chefs hang on to people pretty hard, and when they leave, it's kind of upsetting to them.
I actually always okay.
Yeah. What do
I
you do?
understand.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. I had that conversation with, I have two restaurants in Waisara, then they're run by other group. Those are, it's a partnership. I don't have partners in Minneapolis. And I was talking about that today because some people want to move in between restaurants. I'm like, it's their life. I mean, we cannot do anything about that.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to leave, let them do what they need to do.
You can't really force somebody into it, and if they don't want to be there, then they're not really going to be working towards your goal.
No, yeah.
Going back a little bit, Buenos Aires.
Yes.
You still visit
Every 3 years.
every 3 years. Family there?
I have a mom and a brother.
Right. Yeah, and I heard that your mom took care of you to about the age of 13, and then you kind of broke off and started living your own life.
Yeah, it was. I live in a dangerous neighborhood.
Yeah.
And because in Argentina, here, I don't know if that happens, but because I work during the day as a kid, there are schools so you can finish high school at night. So I would come home at night being 13 years old. So it was dangerous for me. So my mom agreed with me moving to downtown, that is where I used to work.
Yeah.
And it was safer for me, so she agreed. I know it sounds crazy now, but it made sense then. It was safer for me.
Yeah,
So-
Danny, like we all come. I come from a very privileged situation and just kind of basic ass upbringing, and I'm not like downplaying it. It's a position of privilege. I understand what I was able to have because of my family unit and my parents' professions and all of that. So I can understand a journey like yours, and like I say, that certainly adds texture to who you are. Now, when you go back, is it more of a memory of what happened, or can you see Buenos Aires for its beauty? Like, can you enjoy it?
I'm not a typical porteño. Porteño are the people living in Buenos Aires. They are a lot of confidence, it's the Italian Latin thing. I have the emotional part of it. Like, imagine like Italian.
Say Facundo, for example.
Facundo is a typical porteño. He was, I came in from a lower economical class. He came from middle class. So there was a difference there, for sure. But yeah.
And so then Buenos Aires until what age again?
20. When I moved, I left a couple times. We went to Brazil for a couple times, for
cool.
São Paulo for just living on the beach or whatever. But United States, I moved when I was 23.
23. That's right. Okay, I read a story about how you came up for a wedding and then decided to stay.
Yeah, and we, my two friends and I, we were in South Beach. Was the wedding because the father of my girlfriend was a soap opera actor. So all soap opera from Latin America was recorded in Miami.
In America?
In Latin America was recorded in Miami.
Telenovela, huh?
Yeah, telenovela.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so like we moved here, we came here and we were like, oh, we love this, And then
South Beach.
we overstay our visa, so we were like, if you go back, you cannot come back for 5 years. So we were like, oh, let's go see other parts, We didn't have any money though, so it was hard to find a way to make money. So we did all kind of things for money, like photography with a Polaroid in bars, like selling pictures to people for $5. We slept in a pickup truck for 5 people for 7 days, like things like that, But but it was fun.
Wow. Yeah. At the end, like looking back, that you made it is kind of a miracle, right?
Yeah, it's good.
In a lot of ways. You also made it to Vail.
Yeah, so
do you still shred the gnar?
No, you cannot. Now you cannot pay me to go snowboarding.
What?
Yeah, but I lived in Vail for 5 years.
No shit.
Yes,
I
swear to
lived
God.
in Avon.
Oh, really?
For 2 years.
Well, I used to live in Avon because it's...
You lived in it.
Yeah,
you didn't live in Sunridge, I mean, did you?
No, Sunridge. Oh, maybe.
Right
Is
at
that
the base,
apartment complex?
They're right at the base of
Maybe yes. Yeah.
We used to call it Scum Ridge.
Oh, really?
Instead of Sun Ridge.
Yeah, it was
just
pretty. Yeah.
Janky. And so those are selling for like 400,000.
Oh, right now? Yeah.
I mean, it's my friends live in Eagle before Eagle was anything.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just a crazy economy out there.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
especially now. Yeah.
So, Vail, but you were snowboarding or skiing there?
Snowboarding.
And were you into it? You were
super into it.
You were super into it.
It was my life. Yeah.
Okay, so for 5 years. Vail or Beaver Creek?
Vail for snowboarding. Oh, Vail.
Vail by far,
any day.
right? If you're, then that's basically because of the back bowls. Or?
Back bowls, and I like the I like it better.
Remember the chair number that you like?
Yeah, 4, 2. Avanti was 2, I think. Number 4 was Eagle, I think. I don't remember it.
Yeah. What's the Game Creek?
I don't remember that one.
Game Creek, you come up, I think it's at the top of chair 5, and you head down the ridge. And Game Creek it was more of a glade, not like a glade, but it was just like just slow ride in, and a bunch of borders over there. That was good. We skied. I worked at the base of Beaver Creek.
Yeah.
At the Hyatt Regency at the time. And so I was the buffet kid, in the morning, but I would get out by noon, whatever I could do to get turns in and like feel the snow under my feet. Those were a couple of the best years of my life out there. I met a woman.
Me too. Yeah.
I met a woman out there.
Yeah.
And she brought me back here.
Same.
I know. I was just reading up on that.
It happens a lot. Yeah.
Some shit.
Yeah.
When I was out there, the ratio was very poor.
Oh my God, there were like 7 guys for each chair. So yeah.
So I was like, oh, she likes me. I'm gonna glom onto her.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, so your partner at that time was from here?
She was from here. She was going to med school, so she has to come back here. She was actually, the lifestyle there was like, you start snowboarding 9 to 3:30 or 3, go up ski, to like Pepe's or
somewhere
the Red Lion,
Garfinkel's, right? Or
Garfinkel's. Take 3 Jaeger shots and 3 beers, and then go to work. And work until like 11, go out and drink with your friends, and all over again. So I met this girl who she didn't do all of that. She was a normal person. I was like, I was surprised, So that was draw me towards her, you know. So someone who I was like, it was a great life, but it was a bubble. When I go there and visit, people are all doing the same stuff. Like the bouncer is still the bouncer, the chef of the restaurant is still the chef. It didn't move, and they're happy, and that's great.
Yeah. Hey, it's a different lifestyle. My friends are somewhat like that too. One of my buddies is still at the Hyatt. He's been there. I think he's been there like 25 years, and he's been running the door there for 25 years. And he's like, it's kind of like a golden handcuffs in it. And he does what he freaking wants to, he's always got a dog. He's always got there's a game on, but it is like a solitary life in the mountains. Yeah. I love that though. Yeah. Like, I can handle that. I think nature nature would give me the other half. Maybe not the other half. It would give me a lot of what I needed that I maybe miss here. Yeah. That air, man, riding up on the lift here. The Rastaban.
I remember that.
The Vistaban, Rastaban.
The Vistaban. Oh, I get it. Yeah.
That shit's gone now, I think.
I don't know.
Anyway, like there's a certain way of life there that
it's cool.
Felt free, and I think that's why I look back at it with such fondness.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Right? And you were cooking in Vail?
I started cooking there, and I got into it there,
Italian?
My first job was an Italian restaurant,
Remember the name?
Venderas.
Do you know how many fucking nights and
oh my
days
God, it was a party place.
Yeah. Venderas was so cool. First time I ever saw my wife, we were at what's the downstairs place? The bar?
Yeah, Banderas. It was the Banderas bar. Yeah.
And then what was the other place around the corner just by the Red Lion?
Oh my God, I don't.
You know what I'm talking about? You go downstairs.
Downstairs, yeah.
The cellar or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah.
But yeah, see, but that's how Vail is. You know, it's just kind of like, you know, it snowed. Oh, let's go out.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of have access though to, again, folks with money.
Yeah.
And seeing that, you know, when I was young, I was like, wow, you know, this is a special place.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like money's run a lot of folks out. And it's like that high value person and a lot of those people that are just, you know, the workers.
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of service,
everywhere.
a lot of
All
service.
ski resorts, they're being, you know, like getting houses, expensive houses everywhere, and it's eliminating some of the you know, low income.
We can ruin anything.
Yeah,
You know, it's kind of like that pristine, you know, nature scenario, and then we just bust it up.
Yeah.
All right. So I was glad that we got to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because Vail is definitely one of those times in my life where I was just
I had a lot of
on
friends.
fire.
Yeah, I made a lot of friends too.
people are so cool and laid back. Hey, man, you know, I learned a lot about chill there, though. It didn't stick.
Yeah.
You worked with Isaac and Nancy, 112, and La Grassa, and with such great success there.
Yeah.
I mean, holy shit. It's still just thriving. You know, it's kind of feels like you took some page out of their book to...
I stole the whole book. Yeah.
Yeah. And credit to them, but credit to you for being able to read the book and translate it into your own voice.
Yeah.
These places that you open have some similarities
Absolutely.
to them,
Yeah.
but that's because you're creating.
Yeah.
them.
I used to just be a sponge and just look at them like obsessively and trying to learn as much as possible from the front of the house and the back of the house. When Nancy was there at a restaurant, she would go there, blah, 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 moving, camera, playing Tetris with the, plotting the floor.
Yeah.
And it was a different night. You know what I mean? It was like the sales will increase, the energy will be great.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of respect for Nancy and Isaac, and they're both complement each other so much too.
Yeah.
So
The front of the house, back of the house scenario.
yeah.
You seem to tackle that well. Your bark program is very
Yeah.
strong. Your service is very strong. You have to have a connection with that for that to be kind of your fingertips.
It's
you
also
know?
kind of the right people, you know. Megan Lucky, she
Yes.
runs all my bars. She gets it. She's amazing. I love to. I you know, when we work in project concept, she gets it right away. You know, I don't have to, you know.
Let's just talk about Megan for one
Yeah,
second, because I don't think Megan gets enough credit.
Absolutely. None of my main people get a lot of credit, and I wish. I mean, I always talk about them, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So Megan in particular,
Yeah.
she does the beverage program for all of the places,
All of the places,
including your consulting scenario at the Rand.
Yeah, Waisara, no, Waisara is a different person.
So your stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. And how do you like find people like Megan that are strong, that'll lead with you, that will, like you say, kind of anticipate conceptually, anticipate from a service standpoint? You know, these people are very difficult to find.
Yeah. For me, it's a fit. It's a energy thing. You know, it's like there are people that like me, there are people that don't like me. You know, with everybody, it's just it's a chemistry thing. You know, with Megan. So with Megan and Jeff, you know, I have Jeff Watson is the main guy who does all my he runs all the food programs at all the restaurants. He's been with me since Bar La Grassa. Megan is amazing. Yeah.
So good for Megan. I don't know her, but I want to talk to her, and hopefully we can link up. And I just hear such good things from other people about her, because I don't believe
she's humble too. I love, you know, all my people is very humble. They're very talented. They're very easy to work with. So
when you are talented, it allows you to be humble if you want to.
Exactly.
It
yeah,
allows
yeah.
you to be humble because you can be.
Yeah.
Because you know stuff, you know, and you're
Yeah.
confident about your work.
Yeah.
And shit, man, if you're going to open this many restaurants, you got to be confident about your
Yeah.
work. In terms of confidence, I mean, answer this how you want to answer this. Where are you really? Like, because I know that when I open up a place, I believe in it, I love it, I want it to be mine. When I've opened places that I've kind of shared vision with, it hasn't worked out quite as well as I maybe would have wanted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how do you push through getting all of these concepts put together and then executing and then having the confidence to say, I'm okay with everything, you know?
Well, there's always room for improvement, always. You know, we always go to a place. I usually focus on the one that needs the most help. There are some that they're just, Martina and Colita, for example, they're in automatic. You know what I mean?
But your
great.
confidence, how do you feel about the inside of you, about everything that you do? Does it waver?
I was very insecure for a long time. I still am. But I believe in what I do. I constantly reading, trying to better myself in every aspect. Like, for example, wine. I didn't know anything about wine, and I started doing the W set. I don't know if you're familiar. Yeah. So I finished the level 3, and my goal was to be a master of wine. But I opened Martina. Then for coffee, I work when I was a chef at Birch. I used to wake up at 5 a.m. before going to work at Birch for the night and go to work at a coffee shop. I used to work at Penny's to learn the coffee part. So knowledge is power.
Yeah.
And that's my mantra, I think. Like
that equals confidence.
Yeah, like
that equals all confidence.
Like I was overwhelmed by partners and by legal issues in the beginning, by real estate thing. It's like, am I paying market? I'm having a fair deal here. So I will buy books about real estate. I will buy books about this. And when I'm not reading, I'm audiobooking in the car or whatever. So that's how I get confidence. I don't know if that answers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as an entrepreneur, you know, we have to put on that face like everything's okay sometimes. Even when it's not. We take big risks. We put ourselves out there. And then, you know, when you put yourself out there, people, like you said, are going to like you or not like you. And that's the way it is.
Yeah.
I think one of the, I may have mentioned it on the show before, but I worked at a place called Prado Restaurateur back in the day for, it was a Parasoli restaurant, nice kind of dual concept cafe and fine dining. Anyway, there were a couple things hung on the wall there, little clips, and one of them was risk being disliked.
Yeah.
Because I think you have to take some risks that everybody, that some people, how do you get everybody to like you?
I'm very insecure about that. Like, I know that there's people that don't like me. I mean, I bet there's a lot.
Yeah, but you have to take that chance to be who you are.
Yeah.
And, you know, like also, you know, all of your mistakes or all of my mistakes, they don't define our next steps.
That's something that scares me. It's like I made a lot of mistakes and I'm a totally different person than I was 5 years ago, even 2 years ago. I mean, if you didn't change during the last 3 years, you're a sociopath. You know what I mean? I changed a lot in the last 3 years. I changed a lot the 5 years before that, 10 years before that, you know?
Yeah.
But some people, you know, they just collapse about like who you were 15 years ago, you know, which is not fair, I don't think. But
well, everybody kind of looks at everybody else and we can project either our own problems on them or kind of, you know, if you're in the spotlight, you're going to get, you know, looked at, you know, you're under a microscope.
Yeah. My solution for that was like, I removed myself from all Instagram. I never have Facebook, but like anything. And I stopped reading things about me, you know. I stopped because you cannot do anything about it. So
yeah, and what happens to like ultimately when I read, say, a review or what have you, I'm kind of looking at things going, ooh, that's really partly true. I can see that
absolutely,
happening. And so it does glean, say, a helpful, insight. At the same time, you really, if you're in tune with your restaurant when you go in there on a daily basis, you should be able to be tuning out the noise and not kind of listening to it in a way.
Yeah, I don't listen anymore.
It's good.
Yeah.
Because you gotta, the Macanda review was hard.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to read.
Yes, for everybody. When Argentina won the World Cup, I have the most texts I ever had. It was like 100 texts that I didn't respond. When that review came out, I have like 300 texts from people being like, their opinion about it. I never had some people that I didn't have their contacts in my phone. Hey, Daniel, this is blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah.
Want you to know.
Yeah, yes.
Were people that got a hold of you, were they all saying, don't listen to that shit? Or was there a mixture of, hey, you deserve this? What?
No, there was a lot of the first one, to the point that I have to go to a restaurant and first of all, I have to lift the team because it was pretty down. The person, the chef, the bar, the person who created the bar program, the people who service and everything. I was scared about that, the first thing, And I went there and I was like, listen, you guys are not a one-star restaurant. Maybe he got a bad experience. His opinion, I cannot do anything about opinions. You guys are not. I'm very proud of what you do. Yes, we have some issues that, we can get better. And I say, if people try to engage you in a negative way about the review, please don't engage. Just say, we're sorry. Then,
Yeah, what do you exactly. You don't talk about it because you're not playing one star anywhere that you have. Okay.
Yeah. No. Like another person, very popular in the media, food media, told me, it was like, in a bad day, Macanda is, in a bad day, the least it can be is average. You know what I mean? Not like 1-star review. But it's his opinion. I cannot do anything about that. So
yeah, and John, I interviewed him here, and I like a tough reviewer when it's not me, right? You know, because it's always good to see, that somebody's coming in here and not just letting us pass, that we have somebody that we believe in that writes about our industry and our food. Like, I really want to have somebody that we trust. John is not from here, right?
Yeah.
And I think that helps him in some ways. But I think as well, he has some really strong opinions that come across as cutting versus helpful. Right? So that's going to feel like shit. Because he's got some real strong.
Yeah, that was the first reaction. You know what I mean? Like, I woke up with my partner saying like, we got a 1-star review, and I'm like, haha, like, it's impossible. And that was the first, easy. It's easy to say, to blame someone else. We have some work to do there, and I think like we did put the work there. We adjust things, and I think, they were valid. I never understood why they talk about everything else, which I don't think it was correct, because they are two different groups. So I don't know why, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So that I never understood, but whatever. It's just, you cannot do anything,
Did you have people saying stuff to you about it in the restaurant?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It might have hyped your crowd up a little bit, like, what the hell's going on? John's fan base, I don't know what that looks like now, like in terms of who reads him and takes his word as, gospel or whatever. The Cardamom review is 2.5 stars. I understand that he's a hard ass, right?
Yeah.
The Cardamom review, as I read that was kind of one of the things that I thought where I was like intrigued by the way he reviewed.
I tell you something. The Cardamom review, I wasn't mad about it because we were going through the pandemic, COVID, and by the time the time that he came, we had a lot of issues with COVID and stuff like that. What do you want me to do? You know what I mean? I don't know if it was a right time to review, but the Cardamom review, I think it was very accurate. You know,
and it's a good review. His 2 stars or 2.5, I think it was. That's a very good review.
You know, he makes fun of the Serrano use, and if you know me, DDP is like Serrano, lime juice, fish sauce. I put that even in dessert. You know what I mean? Like, so he made fun of that. That review was, I thought it was super accurate. I don't know what he was upset. He was upset or something. You know, maybe he got terrible service. I don't know. You know.
So service could be something like I can't imagine John Chang in Wyzetta anyway. I mean, was he in a Tommy Bahama? You know, did he wear shorts? Like, I want to know what John Chang was wearing when he came into Macanda.
He's very smart, so he called things that I did it in purpose. For example, like if you tell me, hey, we have this restaurant by a lake in Wyzetta, I'm like, if I tell you as an investor or you put in a lot of money invested there, and if I tell you, what about doing something like, you know, a mix between my concepts, you know, you would say, yes, it's a winner, right? Like, so he called some stuff that I'm like, okay, they're truth, you know? So he's very smart. He's very smart.
Very smart, and he's eating around. But that doesn't necessarily mean like every review comes off as it should or whatever. And I'm going back to the confidence thing because I would never want, and I'm glad to hear you say, hey, you got to get rid of the noise, because I would never want that to affect you anything but positively. And I know that doesn't seem right, but like 1-star review is definitely would like, I'd have my hands on my hips. I'm like, all right, so we're going to go now. We're going to go.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, in a way, it's like, okay, you know,
the steakhouse.
We fight. You know, restaurant people fight.
Absolutely. Steakhouse is going to be the best restaurant I ever opened in my life.
Oh, I cannot wait.
And everybody's
hits home too, right?
Yeah.
I think this is fun, man.
Everybody in the team is very aware that we are opening the best restaurant that we ever touch, for sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is so cool, man. I know that Ryan said you overpaid for the building, and it's kind of like, fuck it, I know this is going to work. Kind of, you know, we need it. We want this.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, what the Dayton's cultivated there in terms of an infrastructure is going to be pretty good for you.
I love it. I love Eric. He's a gentleman. He's amazing.
Yeah.
His work ethic. He's a, you know, it makes me feel like a slab all the time. You know?
In a good way.
I
know. It's kind of disgusting how cool and you know, like put together it is.
So and I love the Bachelor Farmer. You know, that's my girlfriend. We've been together for 7 years. Our first day was there, and our anniversary we used to go and sit at the same spot at the bar. Then we met and go there because Bachelor Farmer was the first restaurant in Minnesota with a brand, with an identity. And everybody that worked there loved the place. They were so proud of, you know, I'm jealous of...
Slightly culty. Slightly,
but in a good way, you know. That was,
I know, but I work there, and I'm like, okay, well, you're not leaving.
I just got the goosebumps thinking about it. I'm not kidding. I love it. No,
I mean, it's a special thing when you, like, you know, make a culture, cultivate a culture, and they had a real team.
Yeah.
And they, you know, I mean...
So talented. Everybody working there.
They're very intense about, like, looking at people.
Yeah.
You know, like, their hiring process was definitely intense.
Yeah, it was like 3 interviews, and then you have to go through. I love it.
Training. Yeah, I know. And, like, it was really successful.
Yeah.
It's cool to be able to, you know, I mean, he has a different... you know, bank account than I do, but it's very nice to be able to go through, have a restaurant, have its life, have that life kind of be what you'd want it to be for the entirety of its life, and then be able to say, we've done enough. And you kind of, the curtain comes to a close, and the restaurant's remembered as legendary. There's some beauty in that.
Yeah.
But restaurant owners typically don't want to close anything.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep that shit going.
They made it for 10 years.
Oh yeah. It's a cool thing.
Yeah, that's 10 years in a restaurant is winning.
An amazing amount of time.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I'm looking at Moochie's and Dinette, and we have just 2 years left on our lease here, and things look really good. I'm looking forward to considering what we do and looking at those next steps. I was kind of imagining with the snow falling today, you out in your big puffy coat and your tall boots rolling a big snowball, and as you roll that snowball over and over and over, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And there's some inertia with what you're doing. Sometimes the ball just gets rolling on its own after it's found its way. Right now, do you have 13 things that you're doing at once and finding focus? I have to say, I haven't been to all your places, okay? But it's very intriguing how you do keep the level of quality that high. I mean,
thanks.
That's intriguing. People were busting Marcus Samuelson's balls because he had a restaurant in Minnesota, and when he wasn't found in the kitchen, they were busting his balls. He now has 30 restaurants, international deals, Bahamas deals. I see Danny Del Prado on that track.
Good for him. Well, if I have the team, for sure, but it's just I'm getting, I need some time off eventually.
Okay, so you're gonna take these. You said a 4 to 7 year window or something like that, where you keep this intensity up. Yeah. In terms of opening and making sure that you're kind of driving sales and getting things going, and then after the Argentinian steakhouse opens up,
helping those 3 guys, my 3 chefs, open each one their own restaurant, and it's in the work. We just finished the first one. We just finished branding and color scheme, which I love doing.
Yeah.
Menu, the mood board and all that stuff. So
where do your design inspirations come from? Or are you artistic generally?
I think so. Yeah, it's what I like to do. So yeah.
So you read design as well.
I love magazines, design magazines, and stuff like that.
I don't read much. I like pictures.
Yeah.
But
being
able to design, be a part of the design of your places is one of the most fun parts of this. Creating the concept, creating the menu, finding the energy and the synergy with things within the menu and your team. I mean, that is I think. Oh, that's the whole fun.
Absolutely. I think when you go to a restaurant, you can feel the soul. I come from music, so most of my decisions in the restaurant industry, in the restaurant business, is they're based on music. You always have collaborations. You have a producer. But I want to have my finger everywhere and my hands nowhere. You know what I mean? I want to be involved.
You can't possibly.
Yeah, I want to be involved with everything when it comes to what creates the soul. And that's why I think it's important to be involved in all that process. So.
Yeah. And I enjoy it too. It's one of the best parts. But I am not learned. I think there's certain people that are so good at this, and they just have I can get a restaurant to a certain point. Yeah. Conceptually, from a design standpoint, but those finishing touches and the things that make people look twice or wonder what it is. We're still with paper menus for a while. I don't, things have changed, but at the same time, you really find a way to do things on another level, and it's an admirable thing, Danny Del Prado.
Much. And give me goosebumps again.
Well, it's true, man. Well, I'm here to pump you up a little bit,
Thanks.
but I know what you must contend with on a daily basis. I've been navigating change in my whole life and what it means to me. And I really believe I'm 53. Okay. I'm going to work until I'm 70. I know this. whether I want to or whether I have to or need to, or I don't know, but it's kind of, I know that this is the way down the road for me, and I'm not worried about it. I want to be working for my lifetime, but but at this point, opening restaurants, to me, it just seems so hard to figure out a financial strategy unless you have volume. Volume seems to me like I can have a great fucking restaurant and put it everywhere, but unless I have that volume presence, it's just, the margins are so thin. You need those top line dollars, so many of them, so that they fall all the way down through your staffing and your food and your desired, you know. So volume sometimes is just,
and that's going back to the review, the Macanda review. I think you either cook to put people in the chairs, you know, butts in the chairs, or to put or for the reviewer, you know what I mean? And I pick always what the people want, and what the people want is not what usually, you know, the new generation of reviewers is gonna like, you know what I mean? They want excellence, they want, you know, they want things like Demi, you know what I mean? And he can make it happen because he's amazing, but like, it's not that easy to be sustainable financially with a 15-seat or 20-seat restaurant, you know?
It's really hard.
Yeah.
Well, that's why people pay in advance too, you know, so you can kind of see, you have your money before they get there. That never happens.
Yeah.
And you know what you're going to make,
Yeah.
you know, like, so that model, I think for him certainly works. He's another person that drives an insane amount of volume.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, certainly with him, I think it's celebrity. And, you know, obviously you have quite a bit of that yourself, but, you know, you don't make it about you.
I hate attention. I'm shy, so I can't.
I want to talk about Sandrasan. Okay,
Yeah.
the place I haven't, one of the places that it is absolutely at the top of my fucking list, chef. No offense.
Nice.
I love pasta, and I love Japan and Japanese food and design and the kind of twists between, you know, I mean, Japanese are so noodle focused, and they love Italian food, spaghetti.
Oh, they love Italian.
And so, you know, I was like, you know, to be honest, I was like, wow, Italian, Japanese. I got it pretty quick. I'm sure a lot of people are like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because, you know, but I totally see it. The uni and all of these just different flavors. And then you had to add yakitori and pizza.
Yeah. I know.
I mean, it's crazy cool, man.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how you foundationally considered Sandrasan.
Well, my partner, by then, we're not partners anymore. We are friends, but we're not financial partners anymore.
John Gross.
John Gross, he is also very design focused, and he loves anything Japanese. So, Karonamise and Kaiseki upstairs is one of those restaurants that is excellence, right? But the building is so big, it's 4 floors tall, so they needed something more high volume, you know? So John Gross approached me. He said, we're gonna move Kaiseki upstairs, and we need a concept downstairs. And I knew it has to have something in common with the building, and it's Japanese. You know, the decor of the building was Japanese, so I had to do it. And I started thinking about Japan, and you know, I learned about Japanese pizza. That is like Neapolitan pizza made in Japan is one of the best in the world, even say by Neapolitans. You know, so that was my first. My north, you know, I always need a north, because if not, I go all over the place. I'm like, and so I started thinking like Japanese, Italian, but since Colita, everything I do, I just say, okay, everything that reflect the whole fusion cuisine of the 80s and 90s, we have to remove from it, like a square plate, remove, this, remove.
No kitsch, zero kitsch, modernized.
Exactly. Like everything, like very, so that's how we did it. I mean, that's, and the yakitori, I thought it was like rounded it out because we were like, okay, is everything flour, pasta, and dumplings. Meat. So we need something gluten-free, and that's how the yakitori came.
Yeah.
And I love that concept a lot. Like I love Sanshisan. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really can't, that's one of the places that I get excited about because I know I get to go. I had a great dinner over at All Saints, and finally it took me a long time to get there to see my friend Kim. I had a great dinner down in Edina at Mr. Paul's, and that was fun and fancy. What an experience, from a service standpoint. They really, it's elaborative, and it's conducive to feeling welcome. When a concept is a little more stark, a little bit cooler, people, kind of tighten up a little bit. But I just can't wait to get to Sanjusan and, kind of, mess around with the mix of things on that menu. That's a really cool one, Chef. Like,
it's good.
I like that a lot. And no bullshit. I'll be there soon.
Thanks.
Your names are good. I like the way that you name things. Do you have does it just kind of pop into your head?
I believe in energy and universe and things like that.
Me too.
So I usually have a short list, and then I let the universe lead me. For example, Colita, it was my one dog, my dog's name growing up. And that was one of the names. And I'm driving one day by, and I passed by what it was going to be Colita, and in the radio was the Bee Gees, Hotel California, and one of the lines says like something about Colita, and it's like the smell of marijuana, I guess, something like that. And I was like, there you go, that's the name.
That's it.
So it's always like I have a short list, and then I let the universe to tell me. So I know it sounds like a hippie, but
no. I'm half a hippie, man. It's cool. We're all right. And I love the idea that you're open, kind of spiritually to the universe. Do you have any practices around that?
I yoga, meditate, and I do this kind of therapy sometimes. Then basically you remove yourself from your body and try to work through trauma when you were a kid. So you basically meditate for the first 10 minutes, then the therapists take you out of your body, and then you basically be there when goosebumps again, when you're a kid, and kind of like try to talk to yourself as a kid, just to work through trauma, so.
Yeah, and like forgive yourself for
forgive yourself.
You didn't do this to you, right?
Exactly. It wasn't your fault, and your parents got divorced. It wasn't. Yeah. So.
Hey, man, that's a lot of good work. You know, and sounds maybe like that's an interesting sort of therapy.
Yeah. How are the shadows? Yeah.
Fuck, that's a little creepy.
Yeah. It's,
when I went and saw a woman, and she channels past lives.
Yeah.
And I'm laying on the table. She was like walking around creating vibrations, getting the drum going. Like the sensory overload for a minute, and you can kind of feel it. And she's like, okay, now we're opening the channel.
Yeah, I love it.
And I'm like, oh my God, and then she said while we were on our little trip around my body, different points, she was checking in on them, chakras and whatever. She said one thing, and I just started fucking bawling.
Yeah.
Bawling, crying.
Yes.
And it was so hard to kind of to feel that, but it just came out. She said that in one of my past lives, all of a sudden I had like this neck ache, and my ankles hurt, right? And she's like, Tim, I guess this is why I can't really see what's going on. You're you're shackled and in a dungeon. And I'm like, what? You're being persecuted for something. I'm like, no. Like, what the hell did I do? You know? But believe it or not, you don't have to believe it or not. It's suspending disbelief and kind of taking a minute to look at yourself from a different perspective. And I suspect that you have to do that when you walk into different places. What part of you is here, or if it's all of you, that's cool. But you know, things like that therapy, man, changes perspectives, and that's important. Yeah, it's important to recognize where you come from and what your new perspective is.
Yeah, I always make fun. Oh, people make fun of me because I have 2 or 3 therapists at all times.
A rotating group.
Well, so it's I have one in Spanish, my Argentinian one, one here, and then I do this alternative, like that one what I was just talking. Yeah. Once in a while, and then we have the couples therapies with my girlfriend. So,
hey, dude, you know, it's not. It's very open of you to have those discussions with all those people, and you know, part of the change that you say you've undergone is through the work that you do on yourself, man. And so that is, you should congratulate yourself and feel really, really good about that. Not a lot of dudes out there are necessarily willing to say they need therapy. There's a problem with white dudes, you know, being angry, and, you know, you got to really believe that you can talk to somebody and work through some of the things. It doesn't mean you have answers always, but it's good of you to seek that out.
You know, in the past, talking about hundreds of years ago, you have your tribe leader, then you can talk about issues or questions. Then if you're religious, you have your, you know, the rabbi, but if you're not any of those scenarios, like, you know, a therapist is great. Argentina also has
it doesn't require faith.
No. Or anything.
You know, like, you know, they can just say whatever, you know, it doesn't like, you're not asking for forgiveness. You're just talking about either what ails you or what you think about or what you have to consider, or that you can't stop your brain, or whatever it is.
But yeah, they help. And Argentina is per capita the most therapists in the world. So it's a fact.
You gotta wonder what's going
crazy,
on down there.
I guess. Yeah. But yeah, it is.
Well, and you said though that there's a decent amount of that bravado and machismo, and
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, even with that, I think, you know, a lot of that is, again, a projected attitude, like you have to be a certain way so that you're not taken advantage of. And Buenos Aires is a big city.
Yeah.
You know, and so you got to puff up probably a little bit when you're there.
Little bit, yeah.
All right, so let me look at my notes here.
Yeah.
Part of this is, you know, like with the review of yourself. I asked John Chang to review himself when he was here, his job. And he gave himself a pretty low review.
Yeah.
Said he had a lot of work on, and I thought that was kind of an interesting and a good answer. We have to stay objective, you know, to what we're looking at, you know, because our subjective, the things that are, you know, from our viewpoint, that's not what people see all the time. Yeah. In terms of perceptions, who we are is, you know, valuable to the public, but also, you know, you being a shyer person, you tend not to necessarily get in the way of yourself. How do you keep that kind of open objectivity towards your joints? Like, how do you stay open to seeing them for what they really are when you walk in? You know, you want something to be a certain way. Do you tell people all the time about shit when you walk in?
Yelp and Google reviews, and also Resi reviews. I read every single one of them, and usually I believe in democracy. You know, it's not perfect system, but it's the best system. And, you know, there's going to be people there that they're like not even saying true things, you know, but it gives me a perspective of what people would not tell you, you know, because you can ask people like, how is everything? And they are like, it's great. And then your friends tell you everything is great, you know. Everybody knows that I want to hear the bad things. I want to hear the good things, you know. So tell me what we're doing wrong.
Yeah, it's like kind of not wanting to ask the question anymore at the table, you know. But it is. I talked about this too, man. People have to help you out. If they see something, tell you.
Tell me. Yeah.
I mean, we have to be big enough to take that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And then sometimes
I'm very quick. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm very quick in the moment to if I don't see something that I don't like, I have to say it right away.
Exactly.
I cannot wait.
Yeah.
I cannot wait.
No.
Because I will. Then I'll wait and I'll see it again and be like, oh fuck, you need to say something about that.
Yeah.
If you handle it in the moment, man.
I think like in what I saw in my life, in my career, like the people who usually don't want to hear about reviews and they're very like, you know, there are people that the restaurants don't succeed, you know. I think like self-awareness is number one tool to succeed in this industry, because we have, as you say, volume is the main thing. We're in a city that we're not in New York. New York, you can open a restaurant and you're gonna be busy every day, even if you're not great. And then if you're not great, you last 3 years, you know, then people stop going. But here, if you're not great, you're not gonna make it. You know what I mean? People is very critical here, which is good. They know their shit, and I think like you have to listen to what people want. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's kind of hard, right? You conceptualize something, and it's like your identity.
Yeah.
But then the folks who eat with you are actually become your identity because you're cooking for them over and over and over.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, I really appreciate your candor and kindness and this conversation today. It's nice to have had a chance to get to know you a little better and talk about some real shit.
Thank you.
I can, just let you know that a lot of us look to you as somebody that's doing something incredible and way more than we have the capacity of doing. And so I hope that serves you well. I couldn't do it, man. I'm glad you are.
Well, we're talking 5 years. And see
but you're putting it together, and it's really admirable and hard. And just, I'm not coach or whatever, but stick with it, dude, because your product is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
All right. Well, now I'm going to thank him one more time. Thank you, Chef Danny Del Prado. Thanks for being on Niverland. It means a lot to me.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you for having me.
We'll see you another time.
Thanks.